Welcome to Mondays with Max. Let me know if the mic's a little hot. I think it might be a bit too loud, but let me know. Welcome to Mondays with Max. Appreciate you guys all being here. In case you haven't been here before, this is where I talk about different things going on in the market, different projects I'm working on, what I'm doing to make money with the hardware I have, different things like that. And of course, interacting with all of you in the chat and asking me whatever questions you guys want to ask me. So without further ado, let's roll through the chat and see who is here. We have Vinny Del Greco, who is first. Thank you for being a member as well. And to all my members, I appreciate it. Turtle Tech, Nick the Legend, still hasn't changed his name. Burn, second TL Mining. Good to see you, sir. All set. Mining of the North, Black Sails, 10 minutes to midnight. Jean-Francois, love saying that name. Automatic Beats, Strange Tamer, Smash the Like Bros. That's a good reminder. Mad Investor, Automatic Beats. I already said Automatic Beats. Steven Cicero, and 4J. Thank you for that lead in of the joke. One of my favorite dad jokes. Well. 3 holes in the ground. Jackson Digital, Rizzo 529. Be More Stupid, The Toxic Miner, Patrick Murphy, Triple Nickel Technologies, The Indian All-Rounders, let's see if there's any, Integra Guy 04, Dom G, and that is everybody. So appreciate you guys all for being here. One thing I did want to clarify, especially if there's anybody new in the chat and you're going, why can't I chat? There's been issues in the past, and I know other YouTubers have had the problem as well, where if you let anybody go into the chat, you end up with a lot of crap. Because they come in, basically spam the chat, and then leave. And it's a big pain. So now I do it where you have to be a subscriber for 10 minutes before you can actually participate in the chat. If you come in here 10 minutes before the stream, you want to turn the subscriber on, and afterwards you want to turn it off, that's fine. It's strictly meant to deter anybody who is just trying to cause chaos or trying to spread FUD or try to pump a coin or whatever. It's trying to deter them from actually coming in here and doing that. So that's the reason why I do it, in case anybody is wondering. Apologize if anybody is frustrated by that, but hopefully you understand. All right, let me go through, and nobody's tagging me. Oh, and of course, as always, if you want me to read something in the chat, please tag me. That makes it a lot easier for me to grab, especially if it's a question you really want me to read. No need to super chat. If you do, it's appreciated, but not necessary for me to read the chat. Oh, was there a salad update today? I did not see that. It's been a long day. I was up at 3:30 in the morning to go to work, and yeah, so came home, took a nap, and did a couple other things, and then started preparing for the stream. Did someone mention chaos? Yes, Sunflower Mama. Somebody mentioned chaos. So, and of course, the infamous Sunflower Mama is sitting right next to me this evening. All right, now I got to go to the Salad Discord, actually take a look to see what I do. See that there is a new post. 1.6.8 is now released. Added a feature to the chopping scheduler, allowing chefs to define times when they are open to crypto mining jobs. Wow, that's a big nothing. For us people that don't want to allow them to mine, because if you're going to mine, you might as well do it yourself, because you're going to get paid more than somebody else paying for your mining job. It would be different if it was like Vast, okay, where you could define what your price is. If you can define what your price is, you don't care whether it's a miner or not. But with Salad, you don't get to define your price. And from what I've seen from the mining jobs, they suck. You lose money on them because you're using more power than what they're paying out. Usually they're like 10 cents a day. I mean, it's literally peanuts. So why waste your power on that? So everybody that I know that's doing Salad turns off crypto mining as an option. And that's the reason why. Of course, those people that aren't really paying attention to what their power rate is, or they have free power, that might be a little bit different story. And I think this is appealing to gamers who aren't really thinking about the power aspect of it and the cost of the power. So they're appealing to that, I think. So I guess it will make things a little bit easier for them to say, okay, I don't use my computer during this period of time. If I forget to turn it on, I want you to open it up to crypto mining at this time. So maybe that's it. I don't know. But that is a big, nothing of an update. I'm still on 1.6.5, which they still allow at this point. And really the last three updates after that, 1.6.6 and 1.6.7, again, not really much of anything. 1.6.7 includes a hotfix for the upcoming cert signing change included in 1.6.6. Okay, and then 1.6.6 update to the build to ensure compatibility with future builds after we migrate our code signing certificate later this month. So again, those are all like future. They haven't implemented those features yet. They're just incremental changes to take advantage of some feature later on. I'm not really sure what that's going to be. But, at this point, 1.6.6, 1.6.7, and 1.6.8 for everybody that I know that's on Salad, big nothing. Like I said, I'm on 1.6.5 on a few of mine because I haven't lost jobs. They have stayed on. So obviously I'm not going to update to risk losing the job. Okay, so what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, first off, we're going to talk about, we'll talk about these in some type of order, but, last week I put 66,000 BTC October's here, and it appeared to. We went up to 69, like, yes, and we're right back to about 66. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll talk a little bit about fun, and a little sarcasm there, fun with the Octo server. I still love my Octo server, but there's a few idiosyncrasies I'll talk about tonight. My first Core Fleet rig, I set that up last night. That was a little bit of a pain in the butt, not having nothing to do with Clore, just some weird things that I was finding on. I was working on a Windows 11 machine, and trying to get it to do what I wanted to do was frustrating. And then we'll talk about panel upgrade, whether or not I'm going to do it. I don't know. It's anyway, we'll talk about that a little bit later. But let's first talk about 66,000 BTC. So where are we right now? Oh, we went back up a little bit at least. Still above 67. Let me share my screen. Oh, that's why it's doing that. I was like, why is it doing that? There we go. Could do that. What happened to me? I was in this before. Well, that's weird. That is very weird. Is this it? There it is. Yeah, I actually implemented a new feature here, although I'm in the wrong corner. I need to be in this corner. There we go. But I implemented a new feature, so I've got the transparent background, so we can see what's going on. So anyway, I just thought it was kind of cool. I saw a video on it, so it's one thing I did like late last week. So anyway, little improvement. At least I think it is. Anyway, but we're at 67,375 Bitcoin. Actually up to 382, so 375. Anyway, obviously it's going to jump around. So still above where we were last week, but I'm not sure what this week's going to hold, because we've seen a number of weeks going up. Now, I had openly said on Saturday, I thought this week was going to be an up week. Oh, I don't even know how to put, I guess I can put this in dark mode. Where's dark mode on this site? Shoot. You have to be logged in. I have a login. Okay. Go away. There we go. There we go. Better. Yes, it's better. I know it's better. So anyway, back to Bitcoin. But then I started reading some articles and I was kind of like, okay, I could see how that could be the case. Looking at historical, what's been going on, historically during this time before an election, we could see a small pullback. It's going to, as long as we see a higher low, we're going to be in good shape. And I think that's what we're seeing is going to be a higher low. When we'll see an uptick, it's hard to say. This is kind of a big nothing week for economic news. You've got home sales, which, that's not really a big driver of what we're looking at this market. We have initial jobless claims, but that comes out every week. So I suppose if we see a surprise one way or the other on that could have an influence. But again, because it comes out every week, you're going to see a weekly fluctuation. So the market takes that into account. And then you've got consumer sentiment final, but that's like a final from previous, your consumer confidence is really your big thing the following week. And you get durable goods orders on Friday. That could have an influence. If we all of a sudden saw a big uptick in durable goods orders, that probably could be a bad thing. Obviously it's good for the economy, but it's bad for the prospect of lowering rates. And that's what the market's looking for right now. They're expecting lowering rates. So if there's anything that drives the Fed to say no to lowering rates, that's going to be a bad thing. Now, with that said, the Fed has specifically stated that they're not focused on the growth of the economy as far as driving interest rates down. They're specifically focused on inflation. And that's the following week when we get the PCE index. This, by the way, for those people that don't know, this is what the Fed pays attention to. It does not pay attention to the CPI. Not saying it ignores it, but that's not its preferred measure. The PCE index, and as I've mentioned before, CPI has been so bastardized over the years that they created a new one to actually more represent what the Fed needed. So they created the PCE index. So it'll be interesting to see what that is, but that's all the way on the 31st. We're talking a week and a half away. The prospect of that is going to have no effect on where we are going forward. Maybe next week we might have a little bit of trepidation going into that. Maybe 2 days before we might see a little bit of a downturn. I don't know. But again, this week, you've heard me say it before, big nothing burger as far as news. So that's not what's driving this downturn. I think there's a couple of things. One is, as I was just thinking about it, I think the downturn is just, we've had a significant uptick. So this is just normal cyclical profit taking. So we could definitely see where it takes a little bit of a downturn and then jumps back up. So we'll see what happens with that. The other thing though is, again, people look at this and say, why is it going down? And then they're finding reasons why it went down. Again, not the opposite. They're not saying this is happening, so this is what's going to happen. It's the other way around, which sometimes you're looking for a needle in a haystack as to the reason why, and you think you find 10 needles, but all of them aren't needles. So it's just really hard to say whether these are the reasons. But one of the reasons that they gave was the world unrest, with everything going on with Israel, especially, with them basically being in like 3 wars right now against Lebanon, Iran, and the Palestinians. So if that were to calm down, that certainly would be a driver of the markets. But when there's a lot of unknown what's happening in the world, generally people tend to go to less risky assets. So we have seen an uptick in interest rates because of that demand. So just like, when interest rates go up, Yeah, basically when interest rates go up, that means there's more demand. So that could be a reason why that people going more into the less risky assets and going away from Bitcoin. I don't know. That was the best explanation I saw, other than just, a normal cyclical, okay, people are catching their breath. And I tend to think it's more that. That's why I'm still sticking with my belief that I think this week is going to be a good week. There's nothing in this week that, like I said, unless jobless claims just like grossly are, underperform. We have, a ton more jobless claims. That would maybe not be a good thing. But I think we're generally going to be close to what the expectation is. So I just don't think that's going to be a big driver. So I think we're going to see an uptick. Maybe not tomorrow. Maybe tomorrow it'll flatten out, kind of like it has now, and then start heading up maybe on Wednesday. That's what I'm thinking. Again, I don't do this for a living, and you shouldn't take advice from a guy on the internet as far as what to do with your investing. So this is just my random thoughts, not telling you what to do, not even saying that's what I'm going to do, because I really don't have any extra cash. I'm fully invested. So I don't have any extra cash on the sidelines to put into the market right now, at least not any that I'm comfortable with. So, okay. Let's see. Patrick Murphy, Max, you have my more life experience. Oh, okay. You have more life experience than most of us. Do you see a future where larger scale nuclear electric production increases, or people still scared? I've been thinking about that, because there are products in development, and these are marketable products. These are not like tests. These are products that are due to go to market. They are modular. They are basically able to go into neighborhoods, things like that. So they are supposed to be extremely safe. The question is, everybody's like, yeah, I'm pro-nuclear. Wait a minute. You want to put a nuclear power plant where the park is? No. That's way too close to my house, and it's going to drive down my property values. So NIMBY will be a real thing. Yup, I am pro-nuclear, just don't put it in my backyard. That's going to be the real struggle, because as much as people are pro-nuclear power, or those people are pro-nuclear power, they're still going to be worried that if it's, within 5 miles of their house, that could mean very bad things, because people are still uneducated regarding nuclear power and how safe or dangerous it is. So I don't know. We'll see. Because the other thing about these regional nuclear power plants, these modular nuclear power plants, they're, kind of like, I think if I remember correctly, a module is like the size of like a field house type thing. It's like a gymnasium type thing. And you can put a bunch of these together if you want. But the key thing is that these aren't going to be manned. There's not going to be anybody there. Now, if you think about it, what has caused most nuclear disasters? Intervention by man. The systems worked. If they were just left alone, just leave them alone. Of course, we don't hear about maybe some of the disasters that were avoided by people maybe making some manual interventions. We of course won't hear about that, but certainly we know that a lot of the disasters have been caused by intervention by man. And of course, you have Fukushima, that was put right next to the ocean of an area that is known to have earthquakes, known to have tidal waves, or have tsunamis. So yes, there was always that risk. Not the smartest idea. And obviously Chernobyl was done because of like more than 10 human errors, more than 10. So again, if you have it unmanned and you have everything systematically automatic, then kind of like think of it as kind of like a substation. Yes, you can have a substation fire, but is there suppression of that fire at the substation? In most cases, yes. How quickly can you get somebody there? If something were to happen, how much of a forewarning would you know about so you could get somebody out there to fix maybe something that might be malfunctioning? The other part is how many redundancies and backups and all the safety controls that would be put into place. All of those things are important, but nobody dives into the details of that. So in short, yes, I think it will come to fruition. The first places it'll be is probably out in the middle of nowhere where people aren't going to care. But other than that, these can go into much denser population areas and be safe, but NIMBY is going to come into effect and people are just going to know, I do not want nuclear power in my backyard. So yeah, that's the frustrating part. Goat says, coming this summer, starring Danny DeVito, the time a disaster was averted due to human intervention, the action-packed 12-minute long video, just doing my job. That's funny. Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I like to think that I make managing the warehouse boring. It's not boring. Every day we have to make small adjustments to make sure that things are done the way that they need to get done. But because upper management doesn't see it, it's, oh, he's just doing his job, which is true. I am. But yeah, you don't see the things that you do to avert problems. It doesn't get a lot of rounds of applause. Let's put it that way. So Goat, you are perfectly on target in many parts of life. Jean-Francois says they should test. They should not have done plain and simple. Otherwise it would possibly still running. I'm not sure which one you're referring to, which power plant. Bacon Eggs Nash says you can test radiation levels with glow in the dark items. A watch, for example, will glow in the dark. Numbers will be brighter as radiation levels go up. Yeah, but by that point, isn't it too late? I suppose it is about time period of radiation levels, but I'm sure there'll probably be things like that if they ever put these in areas. I mean, if you think about it, aircraft carrier, submarine, all of these things have people directly around the nuclear power plant. So if the Navy finds it safe, now I'm not saying that they haven't ever had issues, but you don't hear about those nuclear power plants having issues. Maybe they keep it quiet, I suppose, but the Bubble Maps wallet tracking website. I did not. No, that's Crypto Bubbles. That's different. Yes, most nuclear disasters. Well, I honestly defy anybody. What nuclear disaster wasn't caused by human error? Now, I'm saying that because I'm not even sure what caused 3 Mile Island. So I don't know if that was human error or if that was mechanical error, or maybe even a combination of both. So that's the one I don't know about. I'm familiar with Chernobyl. Fukushima was a natural disaster. That was just kind of poor planning in my mind. But yeah, if you can't use salt water to cool because of a bunch of different issues, because I looked at them like, you're right next to water. Why not just start pumping the water in? No, it doesn't work that way because it's salt water. Anyway. Well, okay. No. Patrick Murphy on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were caused by humans. So I mean, not laughable, but yeah, you could say that was human error, depending on how you feel about it. I mean, it's history. Nobody can deny that by dropping those 2 bombs, they saved tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of American lives because we didn't have to try to do a, onshore landing of Japan to take it over. So you can agree or disagree that it was the right thing to do, but you can't deny that fact. And that's the pros and cons, which was, what was going to be the better outcome. And honestly, probably more Japanese would have died with a landing. So, all right. Wow. I really went off track there. He just quoted me. It was caused by a combination of mechanical Oh, you're talking about 3 Mile Island. So yeah, mechanical failure probably was the instigator of it, and caused probably by a design flaw, but human intervention could have easily prevented it, and it didn't. So that's where the human error comes in. So everything can fail. That's the bottom line. Everything can fail. It's a matter of what safety systems can be put in place, redundant safety systems, safety system upon safety system, to make sure that things can't go to a out of control nuclear reaction. That's really what you're trying to prevent. You want the ability to shut that thing down, whether it be instantaneous or over a period of an hour or something like that. That's what you want to have, because as long as you have that ability to do that, then you're going to have a safe reactor. Alrighty. Yes, I know Japan would not have surrendered any other way. That's what the history books taught me. So, all right. We've talked a bit about Bitcoin. So those are my thinkings of that. Thanks for the question, though. I appreciate it, Patrick Murphy. If anybody else has any questions, let me know. Oh, Geek of All Trades. Cool. I love it. He's just ChatGPTing the thing. Pump failure plus delayed responses plus misinterpretation of indicators, bad control room layout, and inadequate training equals 3 Mile Island. Got it. So you have a pump failure. Okay. Again, a problem. Delayed responses, human error. Misinterpretation of indicators, human error. Bad control room layout, human error. Inadequate training, human error. Most of that is human error. If any of those things were better, that pump failure would have been mitigated. So there you go. Appreciate that, Goat. Alrighty, well, let's move on to a at least more top of mind for me. I've been thinking about upgrading my electrical panel from 100 amp to 200 amp. I've mentioned that before. So I did get a quote, and bear with me here 1 second while I find it. Okay. And let me go back to that. And here's the quote. Well, let me move this over a little bit because it's cutting it off a bit. There we go. Yeah, that'll work. Okay. Why did you do that? Stay. So the panel itself, along with installing new breakers, running new ground to the water meter, which he said was like nothing, so that's not really adding a whole heck of a lot. Replace the 1 1/4 inch conduit from the meter to the panel with new 2-inch conduit. That's to code, and that's common. That's not unusual when doing a panel upgrade. Install new wires from the meter to the panel. Again, that's standard with an upgrade. Install duct seal. That's again not a huge cost. Install a second ground rod 6 feet away from existing rod. That is a little bit of extra above what a normal panel upgrade would be if you were already to code. Bond hot, cold, and gas pipes. Again, that's pretty. See, he said that, but no, that's already been done. So that's not even required. He actually went to the hot water heater. Sorry, he went to the water heater and said that was already done. So that's not even applicable. and then new panel will be labeled as was previously labeled. It's just going to copy over the panel and make sure all the breakers go generally in about the same spot. That's the panel upgrade, $37.50. I had been told it would be somewhere between 2,000 and 3,000. So maybe prices for this stuff has gone up, but that seemed like highway robbery to me. So I'm getting another quote. And they're coming out on Thursday. So we'll see where they're at, but I wasn't expecting to spend $4,400 on the panel upgrade. I was expecting to maybe pay $3,000 to $3,500, so about $1,000 to $1,500 less than that. So we will see what this other one comes up with, and if they're generally in the same price range, then I'll start asking some questions. But and oh, by the way, the other part of this that isn't included in this, because I'll be able to do this on my own, is I need to upgrade my smoke detectors. It's all part of the new electrical code. So I have to have, even though I have a smoke detector on the second level right outside each bedroom, you have to now have one in each bedroom and then one on each level. The one on each level has to be both a carbon monoxide and smoke detector. I have the carbon monoxide in the basement, since that's where the carbon monoxide is going to come from, and carbon monoxide sinks as well. So as long as you got it down there, and those three are wired together. But the three in the bedrooms wouldn't be wired, but you can have a hybrid wire, or just make the whole thing wireless possibly. It's probably what I'll end up doing, is just make it all wireless. So the wires will only be providing power as opposed to communication. So, but that'll be, I don't know, like $300, $300 to $500 to replace all those. So not a huge deal, but that's not included in this, but that's also another expense I'll have to do. So what do you guys think? Anybody know what a panel upgrade should cost? Does that seem reasonable? S Chang. Okay, there we go. S Chang said, just did a panel upgrade, $4,500. That's not what I wanted to hear. Integra Guy says, my 200 amp panel in my garage cost me $1,500, but I did it all by myself. That's just material. Yeah, I mean, two guys for a day for $3,000. Man, that seems steep, very steep. Yeah, I think it's a little bit in a tight spot. I mean, I'll have to move some of the mining hardware out of the way. Plus, I don't want to do it myself because I need to get my stuff back online as quickly as possible. When they're doing it, they'll get it back online within like 5 hours, probably less. Like I said, it's not that difficult to do. I'd say probably the most difficult part is the fact that I have a finished basement, so they're gonna have to cut out some drywall in order to get to the conduit, to replace the conduit, as well as extend how far down the panel goes, because it'll go from a 30 space panel to a 40 space panel. They did not specify which load center. That was the other thing I kind of got. I was like, they didn't even tell me what they were going to install. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. But yeah, you got an Eaton Cutler Hammer CH panel. Highly recommend, if not smart panel. Yeah, I wasn't planning on going smart panel. They will have to be all arc fault breakers. Yes, that's part of the new code. So I don't know if that's what's driving up the cost. Dom G says, cost me 2,300 Canadian in 2022 for a 200 amp panel replacement. Sounds like price went up. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, Swap 7 F arc fault breakers. I know. License and apprentice 95 blended per hour. Yeah, for 10 hours. I mean, I was thinking about $1,000 for labor. Patrick Murphy said 2280 total. Yes, I think this is too high. I mean, I did like the guy. He knew what he was talking about with the local code because I did all my homework. He even mentioned, he's like, "Oh, I see you did your homework." I'm like, "Well, yeah." Kind of know what's going to be involved before I decide to call you out here to have you do a quote. It wouldn't make much sense and be a waste of your time. So anyway, so that he appreciated that, but yeah, I was, like I said, wasn't expecting that price. Yeah, labor is, 2280 labor assumed 2280 plus or minus material. So you're saying 2280 for the labor? Yeah, Sunflower Mama says, bet I could figure it out. I'm sure you could, but this is one of those things where the amount of downtime is and it's electric. I kind of like having her around. I don't want to kill her with a small mistake. Patrick Murphy, I carried your 3 days. I'm not sure what you mean by that. S. Jake, arc fault breakers are $65 each. Yikes. Oh, so many issues with your washing machine. God, I hope I won't have that. We have an old washing machine, so hopefully that won't be the case. Patrick Murphy, I'm guessing there are some things scaring him and he's carrying an extra day or whatever. I suppose that's possible, but it was very straightforward. He wasn't thinking like, he's like, yeah, I got it. I totally know what needs to be done. I'll give you a quote. So the other thing is that if you look at the bottom of that, it also says that permit fees aren't included. So I got to look to see how much permit fees are going to be. And then I did think this was reasonable. The $675 for 2 new 240 volt 30 amp twist lock outlets. Because when I had that done, now admittedly, this one will be a bit easier, I think, because he's putting in a new panel. But the guy who did it before, he charged me like, and again, this was like a guy that I knew through work, a contractor that we used at work, and he came out, looked at it, he's like, yeah, I'm doing this on the side, and I think he charged me like $230 or something like that. So that didn't seem ridiculous to me, as far as that went. So that's what I'm saying is I was thinking it was going to be around, $2,700 for the panel itself. And then an extra $600 is what I was thinking for the 2 outlets. So we'll see. We'll see what this guy comes up with. Integra guy for $675. I'll wire those two 30 amps. Well, again, it's going through drywall. So it's not quite as straightforward. I suppose if you need to fish it, and I don't know what he was going to do, because I have the one directly below the panel. So all the guy had to do was run a flexible conduit up to the panel and connect it to the box, and then obviously run the wire through it, and that was it. But he's going to have to move at least one or probably both of them to like the next panel space or the next stud space over. And not put them all within that same spot. So I don't know how he was planning on doing that. My guess is that when he takes the panel out, he'll drill directly to the side and then feed the conduit down that way. That would be my guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's a finished basement. So little bit, I mean, you can tear out all the drywall and just have open space, I suppose. But that wasn't what he said he was going to do. He said he was just going to cut the space of the panel bigger. So anyway, let's see. So, Vinny Del Greco, this automatic locking in the washing machine to start the load always flipped the breaker. BB blamed the wiring, manufacturer blamed the wiring, electrician blamed the washing machine. So what did you do, Vinny? Did you just replace it with a standard breaker and said screw the code? Oh, they had to get a new circuit board for the washer, and that allowed it to work. 3 weeks later, and no washing machine. Oh, ouch. I'll be sure to ask questions like that. That's for sure. Yeah, Geek of All Trades. I only know the code of when it gets inspected. After that, well, yeah, that's kind of the tricks of working with a village inspector. Sometimes it's just worth it to make a mistake so they have something to catch, so that they have to, because they're always trying to find something so they can come out and double their money. I know when we did the basement, that's what they did. Like, we're going to find something easy for them to find, so they have to come back out. As I will say, yeah, our village inspector did not do a great job on inspecting the plumbing. Because, man, when they did our kitchen, that plumbing job was horrible. I showed it to Chump, and he's like, what the hell? Alrighty, let's see. Drywall can't conduct electricity unless it's wet. Unless it's a wet wall, right? Yeah, that is true. Yes, we would, of course, probably have that issue with our 31-year-old washing machine. I will definitely ask that question. If I need to. Oh, we wouldn't have that issue?
No, because it doesn't lock. It doesn't have electronics.
Well, that's true. That's true.
It's like chipmunks.
I just wasn't sure if it would have like a large startup transient that could cause a load to trip the circuit breaker. She said the chipmunks will be fine. I got it. All right. Well, enough of that. Let's move on to fun with Octoserver. So this one was kind of interesting. So I got 3 new 4090s. Well, I say new to me. They were used. Patrick Murphy says you could find someone to do this for under 4,000. That's what I'm hoping for. But again, I don't want to also cheap out just because they're the least expensive either. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I'm certainly not going to do it myself. I'm definitely not going to do it myself. Could I do it myself? Yeah, probably, with a lot of pain and a lot of downtime. Because if I'm going to do it, I will do it very carefully. But if I remember correctly, because that was the other thing he did ask me, he's like, so are you going to do this with the right way with a permit? And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it with a permit. So we'll see. We will see. Yeah, exactly. How much is your time worth? Exactly. All right, moving on to Octoserver. My time's not worth $4,000. Okay, she says my time's not worth $4,000. I guess I'm more expensive than that. That's why I'm gonna interpret it anyway. So leave it at that. Don't comment. So Octoserver. So I put in was planning on putting in a 5th GPU into it. And I planned on putting that one in the rear slot. So this basically, the Octoserver has 5 like out front, and then there's like the motherboard section in the back, but off to the right of it, there's 1 more slot to make it 6. But the difference is that the front slots all run directly from the top of the GPU straight back to like the middle panel where the fans are and everything. There's directly behind the GPUs, there are the power connections right there. So we have these nice cables that run from the GPU directly into these 2 slots with just a slight amount of slack, enough that the 16 pin or 12 pin, whatever you want to call it, isn't being pulled on at all. So it's a really nice setup. Now, the 6th one doesn't have those connectors. You have to go from the top of the GPU down, and you're going to torque that quite a bit, and you got to go out a little bit. So it's just like literally like an inch short, 2 inches short from ideal, but certainly about an inch short from being able to do it at all. And so this is what I'm trying to find a solution to, because trying to explain to somebody, I need this cable and this connector. Veteran Miner doesn't currently have any customers, or not enough customers that would warrant him to tool for this, and it would cost a lot of money to tool for this. So this is the reason why I bring it up. He's not even here to defend himself. He'll probably watch this later. But here's the thing. So I'm going to bring up, where did I put that? Right there. Okay. Let me bring this up. There we go. Okay. These two right here. Let me go back. These two are not PCIe connectors. They're EPS connectors. Okay. They're EPS connectors. So the EPS connector is like what you use for a CPU. It's the same style of plug. So I was trying to plug these into a PCIe connector. It wasn't working. Imagine that. Doesn't fit. So that's when I realized where my mistake was. So anyway, so this up here is the standard EPS connector. Okay. And you'll notice here's the clip, and the 12 volt is right next to the clip, and the ground is opposite the clip. Now with mine, or with the Octoserver, it's opposite. So let me see if I can. So basically, this is the side opposite the clip, and you can tell that this is the 12 volt because there's only 3 wires. Remember, the 12 volt, the PCIe is only going to have 3 hot 12 volt wires. It does not have a 4th one. So you have those 3. Then the opposite side has also 3 grounds from the PCIe connector. And then the 4th ground is basically going into this little 4-pin thing in the back. So that's where the 4th ground comes from on this. But my point in that is, again, the hot wires are opposite the clip. This one has them on the same side of the clip. So what would you call that? Maybe reverse EPS? That is what Octoserver calls it. Well, Dave and I were having a little discussion about that. Anyway, the good thing is I just have to decide whether to use a standard 12-pin to 3 PCIe connectors, and then he has some PCIe connector to reverse EPS, which he hates that terminology, but it's wired that way where the hot is opposite. He actually has those in stock because he was making them for something else. So I could grab those or have a straight through and just do a, have a extension from here. So probably going to lean towards doing a standard like adapter 12-pin to 3 PCIe, and then the PCIe to the reverse EPS wiring cable. So that's probably what I'm going to do. I got to give him an answer tonight, and then he's going to either make some for me or just send me what he's got, depending on what I decide. So anyway, so that was part of it. I wanted to put it in the rear position to give the front a little bit more air. Sorry, no, can't do that. What I did realize, though, is the Founders Edition cards are shorter. So if I had all Founders Edition cards in there, I would be able to close the lid, which would create some better airflow. Plus, they're narrower cards, so there's more space in between each of the GPUs. Again, keeping things cooler. So I may, when they do the circuit panel, I may rework all of my rigs where I put all of the Founders Edition cards in the Octoserver, and then all the other cards go on the open air rig that I have with 8 GPUs, 8 4090s. So that's kind of what I'm thinking. So anyway, but wait, there's more. So then I'm like, okay, well, I'll just put in the GPU and it'll just recognize it and away we go. No. So there are a number of steps that you need to take. One is you got to make sure that you set the PCIe bandwidth to X16 manually. It comes standard on each of the slots by 4 by 4 by 4 by 4. So you have to do it to X16. Now, why I didn't just do that all in the first place, I don't know. But I was doing it one at a time as I added, and I'd forgotten about that step. So that was the first error I had. So I fixed that. Then all of a sudden, I wasn't getting an internet connection. Which I was like, this is weird. And I'd forgotten that Hawk had the same exact problem. But I did find a different solution to it eventually. Yes, step one, make sure it's plugged in. Yes. Actually, more importantly, make sure you unplug it before you put a GPU in. That's the most important step. You can get a little excited and want to just put it right in, and you can turn it off. But if you still have those power supplies plugged in, they could still be pulling a little bit of power into that motherboard. Unplug it. Unplug it. So I did do all that. I did remember to do all that. So I fixed that. And by the way, IPMI having that ability to remote in and look at how your computer boots up in the comfort of your home office, as opposed to being down in the basement, with basically a spare keyboard and such, is really nice, really nice. So I was able to, kind of take my time and really look at it. So I did, like I said, I fixed the X16 part. And then the other part of it was that when you plug in a GPU in an Octo server, for some reason, it changes the identifier for the Ethernet port. So it's like ENP something, and it was 201, and it changed to 198. So the way I got around that, actually, to make sure, for some reason, the first 2 times I booted up, the router wouldn't even give it an IP address. Not really sure why. Well, I kind of figured that was the reason. Well, I didn't know that was the reason, but at the time, I kept trying. Finally, it gave it an IP address. I was like, cool. But why isn't the actual unit communicating at all? I couldn't ping, couldn't do anything. So I did a DH client command, which is basically like your ipconfig/renew on Windows. And that fixed it. I was like, cool. But the next time this thing boots, I'm going to have the same problem. So that was when, thankfully, on Saturday night, it got brought up. Aragorn Strider, thank you. I don't know if I saw him here yet, or if he was coming tonight. But he helped out. He was like, well, you kind of had it all under control already. Yeah, but he helped me fix it a lot faster. So basically went into ETCE, or they call it Etsy /netplan. And then there's a YAML file in that folder. And once you go into that, you nano that file, and then you can change it to match whatever your new Ethernet ports are. So finally got all that straightened out, thankfully. And I feel like I'm missing one mistake that I made. Oh, yeah. I did forget one thing. That's the other thing. When you're on VAST, you plug it in, it'll tell you that there's one more GPU. But if you look down at the bottom where it shows you like how many GPUs, what's actually rented, what's not rented, how is it rented, D or I, that the number of those points will tell you how many GPUs it's recognizing or open to rent. And I had 5 on the description, but only 4 down there. And I'm like, why? And then as I asked the question, I figured it out. I was like, you idiot. You never took this thing offline, which isn't great for reliability, but it was only offline for 2 hours. So once I took it offline and then brought it back online, the 5th one came up. So that was all my fun with with Octoserver. So again, the only thing that I would say is a little bit weird is the fact that it changes the Ethernet port ID. But other than that, it was all pilot error, completely pilot error. And I love the thing. It's been running like a champ, having no issues with it. I wish it was rented right now. Last time I checked, it was not rented. I'm going to double check that right now. See if it is rented. I've been lowering the price too to try to get this thing rented. Is it rented? It is rented. It is rented, but he only rented 4 out of the 5. So the 5th one's not rented. But that's decent. So what I do have running is I do have a background job for Aleo running. So it is making something. And this will be actually a kind of a good transition into Clore. Because anytime you're bringing up a new rig, brand new rig, you have to get that reliability, which is kind of what sucks, because you have this brand new piece of equipment and you want to start making money with it, and you got to wait until the reliability gets high enough that somebody says, oh, okay, I'm willing to take the risk on that. I'll rent that. And on Vast, the reliability comes up pretty darn quick. With Clore, not so much. So let me get rid of this. And right there, right? Oh, no, this is the wrong one. Give me 1 second. Let me bring up this. There we go. So this is the marketplace. I have been online with this for about 24 hours now. And it is only showing me, this is mine down here at 3.57. And it's probably just short of 24 hours. Maybe they make an adjustment like every 12 hours, and that's why. Let me do a refresh on it and see if it's still the same. No, it went up. So it did adjust. So it's probably right about when it came up. So it looks like it adjusts every looks like it adjusts every 12 hours. So if we take 7%, 7.14, because it says, what it says here, it says uptime in the last 14 days. I bet if I take 7.14, 7.14 times 14, it's 100. So that's basically what they're doing. So it's going to take me close to 2 weeks to get this thing to where it'll be like, you know, that 99% area, assuming I don't have any outages during that period of time. So that kind of stinks a little bit, but the good thing about it is with Vast, when you look at your reliability, it is like forever. It's for the entire period of time that you've had this thing up and running. So if you've had something up and running for like 12 months and you're trying to increase the reliability, it is like a snail. And I do like the fact that Clore does look at the reliability over only 14 days. So I think that's a better representation, because you may have problems. Everybody's going to have some problems. You know, might have an internet outage or a power outage or things like that. It's nice to know that they're looking at a shorter period of time. Maybe 30 days would be a little bit better, in my opinion, but I'm glad that they're taking a shorter period of time to look at that. So it's going to be a little while before I think I even get looked at to even rent. I know the standard when you're looking at the, here, let me see if I reset this. I think I can reset it down here. I guess not. I was going to reset the search parameters, but I don't see a place to do that. Anyway, the minimum reliability standard, I believe, was 50%. So most people will not even see my rig, because most people don't change that. They might change, you know, the number of GPUs or the type of GPU, but most of the other things are probably not even going to touch. So yeah. It is interesting though, how a lot of this is pretty standard. Everybody seems to have 64 gigabytes on their rigs. This one is a little bit more. It has 128. But yeah, So we'll see how that goes. Like I said, it's going to be a while. In the meantime, like I said, I'm mining Aleo, which is doing pretty well. I mean, I make about a little over $1 a day, $1.20 a day, mining Aleo on that. And that means that when my Vast rig wasn't, and by the way, I'd show you my Vast rig. The problem is that it has an IP address on there, and I wish, you know what? I forgot they have a different view now. I don't like the view, but the view doesn't include the IP address. I'm just double checking. Yep, no IP address. Very cool. All right, let me drag this up. Come on. Oh, that's right. That's a different, I have to be on a different browser or be in incognito mode in order to be able to see my own rig with Clore. But anyway, this is basically what I have. So all my units are verified. You can see right now, I've got 4 on-demand rentals and then 1 that's not. What's interesting is if you look, see down here where it says D2, well, one of these was the intermittent renter. It was annoying. He'll come on for a couple of minutes and then go off for like 20 and then come back for like 10 and then be gone for like 2 hours. And it's just kind of annoying. You want to have that regular renter on there. So I'm pretty sure this 79C is the one doing Aleo. Should actually look. Let me get out of here. I'm going into NVTop. Let's do Control C. Yeah, NVTop. Kind of curious what the temps are on all the other ones. Don't know why it does this. Oh, I know why. I forgot about that. Because I have a putty session open and I was trying to do it through a command prompt and you can't have NVTop running twice. I might as well just close that out. That's going to mess that up. Let me go back to here. And oh no, they're all pretty much getting pegged actually with whatever he's running on it. He is running. Oh, it's what he had running before. I'm surprised he didn't pick up the other GPU. That's kind of weird. But yeah, there's this new Tari coin that's supposed to be coming out. And I've started to see some people mining it, even though it's not on mainnet yet. So this is NextNet, which I believe is the test net just before mainnet. So they're paying me not because they're getting paid, but because they're testing their blockchain. So again, I'm not really like letting out any secrets because this guy is probably one of the developers and just needs something to test on. So he's using my server for that. So that's pretty cool. Okay. Sorry. Going back to Clore, the one real nice thing is, so like right now I am mining Aleo on the one GPU that's not rented. Okay. And that's fine. I am still making some money, but because it's using an additional 200 watts than what my Clore 4090 is using, that's the disadvantage. Now, am I getting a higher hash rate with the one that's at 450 watts? Yes, but it's not anywhere near as efficient as the 4090 on Clore. So that's pretty cool. Why are all of a sudden all of my salad rigs that are making that noise? So I apologize if you guys can hear that. So that's one of the big advantages. That's the thing I really, really like about Clore and Clore Fleet is the ability to use, in fact, let me bring this up. This is where it is on, all right. Where it is on my, in Hive. And the other thing with the changes they made, this is only 50 cents a month. One GPU up to, each GPU up to 6 is another 50 cents. And then anything over 6 is just a standard $3 per month. So I really like that they made that change. So it's only 50 cents for a 4090. And I like being able to monitor this. So as I may or may not migrate units over to Clore, it'll be nice to know that I'll be able to monitor them all in the same spot. And if you'll notice, I'm on a Leo. So you're like, okay, well, what does your flight sheet look like? Well, my flight sheet just looks like a Leo. But when I created, in fact, let me go back to, I can't do it here because I have to be logged in. Well, basically, if you've gone through King's video, you know what I'm talking about. There's a bunch of options down at the bottom. So if one of those, either the first or the third option, was keep the when not doing Clore, keep the overclocks of Hive. So that means that when you're mining through Hive, you're going to have whatever your overclocks say there, so you can mine efficiently. And then when it switches over to Clore, Clore is like full bore. You know, in other words, don't keep your clocks from Hive. And I don't have it set up that way. So it will give full power to whoever rents the machine. So that's a good thing. So anyways, I'm looking forward to see where this goes. Like like I said, it's going to take a while. I do have one more 4090. I am debating whether to put it back on Flux maybe. I have never had a 4090 on Flux, so I'm kind of curious to see what the demand is like. I've heard that the demand has gone up, which should be good. So I don't know. I haven't decided where I'm going to put that. What was weird though, when I went to go put the 4090 in, and this is the other problem I had. I don't understand why, but you know how when you put a USB, flash drive in, it should default. It should boot up from there. And for whatever reason, it wasn't booting up from there. And I don't know why. The only thing I can think of was because that was a Windows 11 machine and somehow that was overriding it, because I went into the BIOS and actually said boot up from the USB and it wasn't doing it. Now, it may have been because I had the wrong USB partition, maybe. I don't know. Basically, what I ended up doing was I put Windows 11 to the bottom. I was like, it's not going to be there anymore anyway. Put it at the bottom. And then finally, when I was hitting delete, and F8 finally brought it up into choose your boot and did that, and was a way to get it to boot up with Hive OS. And the way that I install Hive OS is I boot it up with Hive OS, and then I do a DD command to clone what's on the flash drive and move it to the either SSD or NVMe that I've got. After that, then I have to do an extension, which I forget exactly how I did it. I always forget. I always have to look it up. But I had to extend the drive after that. So I was able to do that. So that was another little tricky step I had to do. So, but when I originally put in the 4090 and it booted up into Windows when it wasn't supposed to, I was like, oh, well, let's see what Salad does. And then I got a error basically saying, there's something wrong with your hardware. It doesn't meet minimum specs. I'm like, are you kidding me? So I went in and looked to make sure that the device was coming up properly. It was, that it was working properly, was not a problem. So I don't know what the deal was. Probably would have been fine if I had uninstalled Salad and reinstalled it. That probably would have fixed the problem, but I didn't feel like I should have to do that. Just because I put in a different GPU, Salad should be smart enough to figure that out, but it didn't seem like it was. So I'll do that one more time on the next one, because it's a Salad rig I'm going to be changing over, because I want to see if it does the same thing. And then I also want to see if doing a uninstall and reinstall, if I come across that problem, if I do an uninstall and reinstall, if that fixes the problem. I'm pretty sure it will. So we'll see. We shall see what happens. The other thing is, it might have been because I updated the driver to 550. And I think I'd heard from somebody that might cause problems as well. Anyway, I'll play around with it once I do that. It'll probably be tomorrow when I do that. But anyway, that was pretty much all I had for tonight. I think that was everything. I think talked about, yeah, that was everything. So, but I'm liking Chlorfleet so far. I don't like that I'm not rented, but I understand why. Nobody's going to rent something with only 7% uptime. So I'll need to get significantly higher than that in order to. The other thing I'm kind of curious about, I haven't asked them about it, but the rating system. I see a lot of low ratings, and I'm like, why? What's wrong with the rigs that they're getting all these low ratings, or are people just pissy because they don't know how to use it? And I know, by the way, on Vast, when I have mentioned the fact that, hey, I got a complaint, I got a complaint on my my rig, and they're like, what was it? And they like rattled off like 2 or 3 things, and I'm like, yeah, it's one of those, and they're like, yeah, don't even worry about it. They don't know what they're doing. That's from the people that are in the know with Vast. So maybe I shouldn't get so alarmed by this. And if you're thinking about renting, I wouldn't probably take the ratings super seriously, because it could just be new people on the platform that don't know how to use it, and therefore they just take it out on the host. Because I really haven't seen many hosts that have good ratings at this point. So anyway, just something to keep in mind. Alrighty, down to the AMA section, because I've been on for almost an hour and 15 minutes. Man, I can ramble with the best of them. All right. And of course, I got a chuckle from the wife. All right. That's not the window I want. What happened to... Shoot. What happened to my window? No, it has a single epic. A single epic. Is this it? That is not it. Dang it. I can't believe I can't find that window. It's not. Nope, that's the one I just looked at. No, too many tabs is not the problem. It's too many windows is the problem. And that's not it either. All right, let me do this. It's got to be... This is the beautiful part of... Oh, there it is. I think. No, that's not it. This one. Nope, that's the one I just brought up a little bit ago. Sorry, guys. That's where my chat is. I got to get back to the chat. There it is. I found it. Sorry for the delay. Back to your regularly scheduled program. Bacon, Eggs, and Hash asks, how much do you think a 3060 12 gig would get a day, and do you think it would be worth the electric? I mean, technically it is worth the electric, but you're probably only going to get maybe around 5 cents an hour once it's, when it's rented. If I look on Vast, here, let me bring this up here. See, I just keep making new windows instead of dragging them to a different window. But anyway, we'll fix that later. So if we go to 3060, and again, this is a good estimate. Some maybe a little bit more, some maybe a little bit less. First off, you're not going to be verified. So that's going to be the hard part. Can you get one verified? I don't know how much they're verifying. So verified GPUs are making 4 to 6 cents, probably like around 5 cents an hour. If we look at unverified, it ain't going to be pretty. 2.3 to 3.8. So let's just say, let's average that out to 3 cents an hour. 3 cents an hour, 0.03. Come on. Oh, it's because I'm doing it there. 0.03 times 24. 72 cents. Now, this is only about 120 watts or so. So if you look at, I'm at 11, but I'll just do it 12 cents. So if we did 0.12 times 0.12 times 24. 0.12 times 0.12 times 24. So your profit margin is not quite 50%, but you would be making money. You'd be making about, well, actually a little over 50%. So you'd be making about 37 cents a day at 3 cents per hour. So not a lot, but if you have the hardware already and it's already paid off, why not use it? So now, admittedly, that power that I just gave didn't include running the whole computer. It just was the one GPU. So yes, it could be worth it. To me, that's where Salad comes into play. I think it makes a lot more sense when you're running the lower end GPUs just to run it on Salad. Because even if you get a job on Salad, it generally doesn't pull very much power. It pulls very, very little power. So to me, it seems a bit more profitable on Salad, but you don't get the ability to mine in the background if you're not rented at all. And there are going to be periods of time that you're not going to be rented at all with Salad. So there's pros and cons to everything. I don't think anybody has huge amount of experience with every single platform. I have some experience with a number of platforms, but I see the pros and cons of each platform. Right now, if I start getting rented on Hive and I'm making similar to what I'm making on Vast, it's going to be kind of a, what should I do? Especially if one of my rigs becomes unrented. So we'll see. We will see. I'm not married to any of these platforms. All right. What other questions you guys got out there? Windows 11 belongs at the bottom. Well, yeah. I have Windows 11 at work now, and it's okay. I like Windows 10 better. I did make it like it is. Windows 10, and the fact that I took the menu that's centered along the menu at the bottom, or the bar at the bottom, I made it so that it went to the left. So it's more similar to Windows 10. I did not like it in the center at all. I do like the fact that File Explorer, what can you have? Tabs. Windows 11 is made for me. There were a couple other things that you could have tabs on it as well. So yeah, tabs. Windows 11 forces recall with the latest update. What is recall? Again, I'm not a Windows 11 person at all. Have some weird gripes, but probably due to a bug. Are you talking about Windows 11 or are you talking about Clore AI? Yeah, I've got some. I'm kind of still looking because the proof of holding bonus that you can get, it isn't coming up with what the rate I should be below in order to make that bonus. I don't even have that rate yet. So I'm guessing that takes a little bit of time to get. I don't know. Goat says recall takes screenshots of your machine as you work. Oh, Windows built-in spyware equals recall. Yeah, I can see the positives and negatives to that. Supposed to keep them local, but yeah, I believe you, Microsoft. Sure. And why would I want to use my own storage for that crap? If I wanted that, I would already be doing that. Yeah, I can imagine you'd probably be using a lot more storage, and Microsoft probably invested in some storage company. Yeah, of course, probably sent to you without your permission. Or sent to Microsoft without your permission. All right. Well, I've been going for an hour and 20 minutes, so I'm going to call it a night. Try to get a good night's sleep tonight. I'm not going to do any projects tonight. Last night, I decided I was going to add that one, and then I ran into a few problems that got a little bit late, and then friends, quote unquote friends, convinced me to play some video games, and then I had to get up at 3:30 in the morning. So, yeah. The wife is saying, what did I literally say to you at 8:30 last night? Well, go to bed. Don't stay up too late.
And is it smart to start a project at 8:30?
Oh, yeah. The project wasn't the problem. The project was done by 10:30. That was not the problem. Anyway, Geekcoat says, I never sleep now. Yeah, I can understand that. I sleep on the weekends. I usually run somewhat of a deficit as I get through the week and then catch up on weekends. Not the healthiest way to do it, but that's generally what I've done because I get up so early. It's like tomorrow, thankfully we're having a regular start time tomorrow. So it's 5:00 start, or sorry, not 5:00, a 6:30 a.m. start tomorrow. So I don't have to get up until 5 a.m. So that's sleeping in for me. Yay. So I do have some days to take off by the end of the year. So I'm thinking probably like, I don't know, next Thursday or Friday, I'll probably take off. And actually might be going out of town. Company I work for wants to send me out of town for 2 weeks. Wife's going, yeah, house to myself, peace and quiet. But I still plan on doing the streams when I'm down there. We'll have to see if it'll be the same time. I don't know what their schedule is, so I'm going to be finding that out over the next few days. So it's not going to be for a couple weeks, but we'll see. Oh, one other thing I wanted to mention. It's not live yet, but October 26th is when you can sign up for the Dynex poker tournament on November 9th. It'll start at like right around 4:00. I forget the exact time, but right around 4:00 on Saturday, November 9th. And yeah, be there or be square. I will be a bounty. Good luck with that. So it's fun being a bounty because people always want to take you out. They always want to take you out, and they're willing to take risks. So sometimes it can really, really help. Especially if you know that you've got the hand. Some people are willing to take more risks trying to take you out, so you can boost your bank because of that. So I don't know, can be pro or against, but everybody be there. It's going to be a good time. It always is. So we'll see. Last poker tournament I was in, I made it to the final table. That was at Mining Disrupt. We had there was a poker tournament. I don't know how many people there were. There were a ton of tables. And I was bleeding. I was getting no cards and I was bleeding. And then all of a sudden I caught a bunch of hands and boosted my bank a lot, and was kind of able to play it somewhat even, get boosted a little bit with a few other good hands along the way. And then finally made it to the final table. I think I ended in 5th overall. So, but yeah, there were definitely some people taking some risks at the final table. So I think I came in either with the smallest stack or second smallest stack. So it was kind of a surprising that I even got to 5th. Did I win anything? Nope. The winner is the only thing they won is a trophy. All of it was for charity. So that was all for pride, But definitely participate. It's a good time. If you don't know how to play poker or Texas Hold'em, it's a pretty quick learn just to know the basics. So what if you get knocked out quick? Doesn't matter. There are prizes. There are definitely prizes of you can win Dynex. If you knock out the bounties, you win Dynex. So there's definitely some nice things to win. That's for sure. So anyway, November 9th, mark it on your calendars. No excuses now. All right, let me take a look at some last comments. Sleep is overrated. Can sleep when you're dead. Yes, that's true, Sunflower Mama. My wife, after I start rambling about whatever geek shit I run into for the day, does this napkin smell like chloroform to you? Oh, that's funny. That is hilarious. And DDA 40X fan _ Bruce, pump and dump. 1 week I'm long the ETFs, the next week I'm short. Yeah, the ETFs, I mean, there's still money going into the ETFs right now. So that the flow of money into BTC is, it's higher than a little bit less high. And but yeah, money definitely is going in. So alrighty, thank you guys all for being here. I very, very much appreciate it. And don't forget, tomorrow night is Terahash Tuesday with King and Hawk. And then Wednesday is the Veteran Miner and GPU Risers. I know that they've been a little off and on the last couple weeks with some of the things they got going on. So I think they're going on this Wednesday, but don't quote me on that. But keep an eye out. Somebody will most likely be streaming on Wednesday if they are not. And then we are on Saturday Night Live, Misfit Saturday Night Live. And so I will see you guys back then. Might see a video this week. Kind of going to depend on how work goes, but the plan is to do a video. I was going to poll everybody on that, but I've been told that polling leads to bad results because they always pick the wrong video to do. So I will pick a video to do. I'm leaning towards like a mining tour or a home lab tour, whatever you want to call it, and going over everything. And then I want to have a series of videos that goes over each part and why I'm doing things the way I'm doing things. So we'll see. Alrighty. Thanks guys for being here. I appreciate it. And you guys all have a wonderful night. The General is out. Good night, everybody.